So we are going to start talking about homeschooling. Here is Micayla with our part 3 of our 3 H's. I was a stay-at-home mom for 4 years, so kind of did some of that with Isaiah, but he was also younger. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this. So before we start, I have some statistics here from the National Center of Educational Statistics, but reasons why families are homeschooling. And I think it's a growing number lately.
It is.
I think COVID actually helped that because there's a lot more choices for that online learning.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll also talk about some hybrid options that they have nowadays. So many things that are out there. But reasons for homeschooling. So one of the top ones was just concerns about the school environment, like drugs, negative peer pressure, safety, those types of things. Then the next one was just families want to teach their kids about being morally correct, moral instruction. Another one is just having time with their family, which I feel like both of us are very much into that.
Right.
Like, we have 3 kids, and so they can go to school together. It's fun.
Right.
And then the next one is just about academics. Maybe some families are feeling like they're not getting that instruction that their student needs. For some families, it is just they want some religious instruction. So if there's not a Christian or Catholic school available, maybe this is another option for that. We have just other reasons. Sometimes like Isaiah too, like maybe your child has special needs and they're not getting their needs met, in a public school.
Yeah.
So a lot of different reasons for homeschooling. But I love this topic because currently it says there's about 3.1 million students being homeschooled in grades K through 12. And that was from 21 to 22. I would love to see what it's at right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would think there's probably more, but who knows? So so tell us a little about your 3 cute children and your kind of decision, because Raya's going to be in kindergarten, right? So tell us about your decisions.
So, I never really thought, one, I'd ever be a teacher. If you would ask me in high school what I wanted to do, it would not have been that. And then, homeschooling, I think I grew up with the stigma around homeschooling that, I don't mean it like they were weird, and that's just how we grew up. So just this homeschooling thing is very new to us as well, but it was kind of almost forced upon me in a sense because I lost my job while I was postpartum with my 3rd baby. And so is at that point, just kind of did not have the mental capacity to figure my life out. And so it just was the next best thing to bring the kids home, stop paying $42,000 in daycare and come home.
Yeah. She has 3 kids under the age of 5.
Yeah. 3 under 5. I have 5, 3 and 1. So it was literally $42,000 a year in childcare. And when I got laid off, like I said, 2 months into my maternity leave, I could not think about getting a job and maintaining the rate of life we were living at. And so it just brought him home, and there was my salary nearly, not fully, but nearly made up for. And so thankfully I was a teacher, and it lent me the confidence and the experience to say, I can do this. And so, I think my why has definitely changed now that I've been able to settle into why we're homeschooling. But it wasn't a conscious decision, if that makes sense. It wasn't like, I'm always going to homeschool. No.
And I think that's probably what happens to a lot of families. Something comes up or something happens. It's like, you know what? Right now, this is what my family needs.
Yes.
And I think that's great, honestly. So thank you for sharing that. So what are your plans moving forward then, now that Raya will be kind of entering that kindergarten years?
Yeah.
Tell us about, have you researched on curriculums? Like, what's your plan?
So, like you were saying, there are so many options now. And especially living in a big city or a bigger city like Denver and Aurora and all these surrounding larger cities, there is just an endless amount of opportunity for kids that are at home. Our plan is to do options. And so Colorado has options programs. And so we'll probably send her to Cherry Creek Options 1 day a week. So she'll be home. I'm responsible for the majority of her learning. I think it's like 4 days, 4 hours per day, but she gets to go 1 day a week into a traditional sort of environment with other homeschool students, but it's taught by another licensed educator. So it's going to give her that experience of somebody else, a classroom environment, friends, peers, and structure. In homeschooling, we have structure, but it's like snack o'clock all the time. We're not getting snacks in school and stuff like that as often, So it's just, it looks a little different. So I do value education and somebody else being able to impact my kids because I think it's important.
Yes. Does the price range very similar to what, each school gets per kid?
I'm not sure how it works with options. I do know it's free though.
Okay.
It's a free program for homeschool students, which is awesome.
Yeah,
I was looking in private situations, and there was a private option I was looking into. They're unfortunately not going forward with it next year, but that was going to be like $1,700 a year.
Okay.
And that's better than another hybrid option that's around here. There's another one that's 3 days in person and 2 days out. That's about $7,500 a year. And so when I'm timesing that by 3, it's like, well, then that puts me back at work if I'm paying. Yeah. So it's just like a song and dance almost, but I'm very, very grateful that Colorado values the option that families have and can give us that free 1 day a week.
I think a lot more people are going to be moving towards that because now you still get to go in 1 day, 1 or 2 days.
And then they have all the electives. When she's out of kindergarten and she starts in first grade, she can be in sewing and she can be in engineering. She can be in drama. She's not going, and I get performances. That's one thing. It's like as a mom, where's my spring concert? Where's my Christmas concert? Where's, grandparents' day, Valentine's Day class party? Like those things don't exist. Yeah. But that affords her and me the opportunity to have that surprise factor, that awe factor. So I'm excited for that.
That's really cool. I can't wait to hear how it goes.
Yeah, I'm hopeful.
Yeah, that fingers crossed. Really nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. What is your most memorable moment so far with the kids?
Yeah, I mean, I think homeschooling is challenging, so be prepared for it. But I think the things that stand out to me most and make my heart just know I'm doing the right thing is, when they're recalling information or they're able to explain in their own words what we're learning or repeat back to me or question things. I'm just like, wow, this is working, because not that you don't get that in, you do get that when you're in the classroom, see it, though, in action. But it's just like, wow. Like you can really make it anything you want. And it's so rewarding to have your kiddo tell you about their learning.
I know. And and you did that. So.
Yeah, I did. Exactly. Yeah. I did that. We did that. And
together.
Yeah, it's such a blessing to hear them learn.
They're actually learning. Yeah. Very cool. Okay. And then we kind of touched on the curriculum. So does that option go all the way K through 12?
Yeah, K through 12. Wow, and they even do dual enrollment. They have the whole college option part of that too. And they're very, I guess like they express that from the beginning. Like, yes, we want our kiddos to go to college as well. And we're going to support you through that. And I'm not really sure how, I haven't gotten into the world of like actually reporting that we're homeschooling and what that looks like. But I know there's so many programs, umbrella programs that will help you navigate state testing and all of your attendance and hours and all that. So that's a world I still need to kind of learn, but I know it exists and it's something that we will have to do. Yeah. So
Okay. Can't wait to hear more about that. We'll have to have you back for another section on this. Yeah. Once you're in it. Yeah. So I was just thinking about like what my structure looks like, how much academic learning a kid gets in a public school. So when I added up like SEL 15 minutes, literacy like 90 to 110 minutes, math about 65, science, social studies, 30 minutes. And then we had to do ELD at my district for 45. But when you add all that time up, I mean, it's really just that 4 to 5 hours of actual academic learning. Of course, you're getting electives and things like that, transitions, lunch, recess. But when you think about that, that's kind of what you basically just said. There's 4 hours of actual learning. So I'm like, it makes sense for people.
And I think, right now we're like I would say we're junior kindergarten and we're in school. Like if I do my whole perfect routine, we do school for about 2 hours right now, which I think is plenty. My 3-year-old joins in. Yeah. My 3-year-old joins in for about, an hour and 10 of it. I don't know as much. He's a boy also. So we're having fun, but so I don't know. I like it too, because it's like, I don't have to be at a certain place at a certain time. I can do my 2 hours, or I can do more in a day. I can do double work because we're going to go skiing tomorrow. Like we're going to do Monday and Tuesday's work today, because we're not doing it tomorrow or whatever it looks like. So I like the flexibility for sure.
I like that. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, who doesn't like flexibility?
Would love to go to a 4-day like work day.
Oh, 4-day, that is my jam. I think for Homeschool for Life, 4 days.
Yeah.
And actually when I was in private school, that was our schedule.
Really?
We didn't have school on Fridays.
Oh,
and it was amazing.
I think people would be so much happier.
Yes. School was
And I
Monday
would
through
go to
Thursday.
school even longer. I would not mind.
Well, we had more time to actually do what we wanted to do and travel if we wanted to travel or do our best at, the homework that we had. It's not like you had like a day to do it or a few hours because you're busy all weekend. Like we had plenty of time to get our stuff done.
Love that for you too.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm just like, one good thing that came out of COVID, I think, is this option though, because there's just so many more options now. I mean, there were online schools for the longest time, almost in every district. So I think people have gotten creative, like this hybrid option. Fabulous. Because I love the idea of just going in 1 or 2 days and the rest at home. So,
and some of those hybrid programs provide all the curriculum for you too.
Yes,
so you're not even having, like, if you're like a parent that's like, I could never homeschool. I have no teaching background. If you're wanting some more autonomy in it, those hybrid programs are just like, and this is what you're doing on Tuesday at home. Like, just do this.
Scripted,
and it's nice. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have to
you
worry.
can pick it up. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. And then I just started thinking about when I at least was a stay-at-home mom, kind of did some of those things to help Isaiah. So I was kind of like his OT, his PT, helped with speech, just all these things. But one thing I think it's important to think about if you are homeschooling or a stay-at-home mom, either one, is just to make sure you have like friends who are in that same situation. Yeah. Because there are days where you're like, like I need a break. Like, please, somebody. So it's so nice to just like call a friend. Hopefully if they're in the neighborhood, it's even better. Because it's like, can we go for a walk? You know? Exactly. But having someone there to socialize for you and for the kids as well. Because I mean, home every single day. Yeah. That can be a lot. And there are just days where you're like, whoo, I need a break. Please.
Yeah, absolutely. We joined a homeschool co-op, not traditional co-op in the sense of what probably people think of a co-op, but more of just maybe I would say a homeschool meetup. And so there's weekly activities planned that you can optionally join or not. And just so many awesome opportunities too that we get because we're in a homeschool environment, whether it's backdoor access or just because we're a small group on a random Tuesday. They're like, sure, we'll take you back here and you can do this. We don't usually do. It's kind of nice sometimes to have those ins, but it does provide at least some consistency with some other adults in my same boat, and so socialization for the kids for sure.
And you, because you also
lived
your life.
You had one of the questions. What would you name your homeschool? And I was like, the bell never rings. It never rings.
That
like,
is so good.
You be in a classroom. At least they go home. Somehow mine don't go home. They're always home.
They're just always
here.
Yeah, that's funny. For my movie title, I was thinking it would be like, because it's chalk it out, so chalkboard in the kitchen.
Oh, cute. I like it. I got my chalkboard in the basement.
Old school.
Yes.
I like it.
Chalkboard's fun.
That's funny. Okay. So any other last advice in deciding on to homeschool or not?
I mean, if somebody's like thinking about homeschooling, I don't think it's just like a mom's decision. I think most of the time moms are the ones fronting that load. But I think it's a whole home decision. And if mom and dad aren't on the same page on why we're homeschooling, the system kind of breaks down because, I'm one adult, but I do need some accountability from the other adult in the home. So if things aren't happening, I do need my husband to understand our why, our vision, our purpose, and not only hold me accountable in times too, but hold our kids accountable in that respect of like, this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it. Because if it was just me like advocating for this, I think it would be really hard.
Yeah.
It'd be really hard because Johnny my husband has to kind of step up in other ways. Like maybe the kitchen sink is full of dishes and the house is a complete disaster. And, I'm spent too at a 3:00 hour and, everything is happening in and out of the home and I need a lot more help because I was busy.
And it's an actual job.
It is.
Even people who are just a stay-at-home mom, not even homeschooling, like it's a full-time job.
It is.
I would still wake up early and go like all day. So you have to have a supportive spouse. Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just like really think about what the child needs too. Like, do they need more flexibility? Or are they maybe not learning how they need to be learning, in a school setting? And sometimes kids just have different needs in a traditional classroom, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And then definitely, do you have the resources or the community to help you do this? Like if you're a teacher, you could probably take this on. But if not, it could be very overwhelming.
It is super overwhelming. And there are so many curriculums and so many different things. And I think too with homeschooling, it's understanding that you're going to be throwing spaghetti at the wall, and what sticks and what doesn't. You're like back to the drawing board. And that's kind of maybe also a downside about it that I found myself in. Throwing money at curriculum that doesn't work is intense, and it can be costly, and you don't want to stick with a curriculum that's not working, but you might feel bound to it because you spent $500 on it, and it's like $500 when only one person's working. You feel almost obligated to stick it out, and so it's a touchy thing and it makes you have to kind of have a thick skin of like, this just isn't working. We got to keep going. We have to try this different way, and it's going to be okay. And there's plenty of time.
There's plenty of
time.
Do they have trial runs kind of like when districts design a curriculum?
I wish, but I feel like, they're just like, I mean, they have the trials. Like I can see sample pages and I can join communities and ask questions, but I feel like until you try whatever you're kind of interested in, you're not going to really know.
Yeah, so you're in it.
Exactly. I'm in there. I'm in the teacher book. I'm looking at the notes. I'm comparing it. I'm still doing all my stuff. I'm still backwards planning. I'm looking at, where I need Raya to be and making sure we're aligned and like matching up. And I'm like, well, some curriculums are just really slow paced, or they're really like not it. And so supplementing it's
and probably need some extensions too, because we're smart.
Well, it's just it's a lot of pressure, I think, to homeschooling, but it's a good pressure as long as your why. I think you always just come back to your why. Why are we doing this?
For sure.
Because it's kind of crazy. Why are we doing this?
Yes. Why did I do this?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. And I do think parents know their children best. So I think having that discussion within your family and really trying to make the best decision. And you can always change your mind, like
100%,
and enter them into a public school or, come back to it. So there's always options.
Always options.
All right. Well, thank you, Micayla, for joining me on this quite fun adventure with the 3 H's.
Yes.
And that kind of wraps up our last one on homeschooling. Thanks for joining.